Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the stars of FRYfest over the big show noon hour. Governor Terry Branstad, Coach Hayden Fry, new University of Iowa President, our surprise guest, Bruce Harold, Secretary of Agriculture, Bill Northey, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome University of Iowa Athletic Director Gary Barta.
Hey, welcome back to the big show. We are celebrating FRYfest here, and we have with us, I am a fan. I am a fan right now of what is sitting here at the table with us, Andy. I have been following along and a fan for the last, well, in my case, more years than a lot of the other folks out there. Andy Peterson is with us. Tell us what's going on here, Andy.
Well, we're going to recognize the 30th anniversary of Hayden's brilliant decision to put the A&F logo on the jerseys here with a proclamation in just a few minutes. To my immediate left, Governor Terry Branstad, Coach Hayden Fry, the new University of Iowa President Bruce Harold, Iowa Athletics Director Gary Barta, and Iowa Secretary of Ag Bill Northey down at the end of the table. Gary, what a great event. What a great event. What a great decision by Hayden 30 years ago to put the A&F jersey or logo on the Hawkeye helmets.
It was a great decision, and wherever we go at the State Fair this year, we gathered around the Farm Bureau and celebrated, again, America needs farmers. Thankfully, Kirk took your lead and carried it on. It's a great part of our state tradition.
Absolutely. And Governor, I'll turn it over to you to welcome the new president and do the proclamation.
Well, thank you. Thank you to WHO, and thank you all for being here for this FRYfest. It's great to welcome Hayden Fry back to the state of Iowa and to the University of Iowa. Well, I'm very excited that we have a new president for the University of Iowa. He's got great business background and experience, and I think he'll be a great leader for this wonderful institution. I'm an alumni, and I'm really pleased to welcome the new president, Bruce Harold, to the state of Iowa and the university.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I must admit, I'm very used to seeing black and gold, but I grew up at Purdue. That's the reason, and having said, so I feel just at home. But Mary, my wife, is coming into town. It's been great to now be part of the community. We will wear the Iowa colors appropriately, and all I can say is what an honor this is for Coach Fry. I actually walked by here and I could see this. I thought this was a first-time event, and now I realize this is the 7th year. He's earned every year of it. What a legend. And finally, go Hawks.
Well, first of all, I want to say my first go-round as Lieutenant Governor and Governor coincided precisely with Hayden Fry's 20 years as a coach here. And when I was a student, we didn't win many games. Thanks to Hayden Fry, we went to 14 bowl games in 20 years. Well, I have a special proclamation. It's on Executive Department stationery, and I'll read it. Whereas John Hayden Fry served as the head coach of the Iowa Hawkeyes between 1979 and 1998 and is recognized as Iowa's all-time leader with 140 coaching wins under the leadership of Hayden Fry. The Iowa Hawkeyes made 14 bowl appearances, and whereas Hayden Fry has been acknowledged for his years of excellence through many prestigious awards, such as including the College Football Hall of Fame in 2003, being named Coach of the Year in the Big Ten, the Southwest and Missouri Valley Conferences, presented with the SMU Inaugural Legends Award in 2015, and ranking 10th all-time in Division I coaching victory list. And whereas during the 1980s Farm families were challenged by collapsing commodity and land prices, which bankrupted thousands of Iowa farmers. Nearly 20,000 Iowa families lost their family farms, and with them, generations of family history and traditions vanished. And whereas in 2015, this year marks the 30th anniversary of Hayden Fry's introduction of America Needs Farmers, or ANF, to the Iowa Hawkeye football program. This logo was designed with the objective of drawing attention to the 1980s farm crisis, which directly affected many of Coach Hayden Fry's players and even more Hawkeye fans. And whereas Coach Fry drew upon the success and media exposure of his team and redirected this focus onto the importance of agriculture and the vital significance of farmers to our society and economy. Through this initiative, Hayden Fry built a legacy which showed the character of Iowans and the Iowa football program to answer the call to duty and to help their neighbors in times of need. And whereas ANF remains an important part of the Hawkeye football program to this day, as we continue to honor farmers for their efforts and show our appreciation for the important work that they do in our state. And whereas we gather at this 215 FRYfest to honor Hayden Fry, to show our appreciation on behalf of the farmers and all the lives touched through the ANF initiative, to support the awareness generated through this program, to shine light on the importance of the work and the sacrifice exhibited by our farmers on a daily basis. Now therefore, I, Terry E. Branstad, Governor of the State of Iowa, do hereby recognize Coach Hayden Fry and sincerely thank him for his significant contributions to the developing of America Needs Farmers program, in addition to molding the University of Iowa football program into a successful institution that has the pride of many in the great Hawkeye State. Signed on this 4th day of the month of September 2015. Coach.
Coach Fry, congratulations. Tell us a little bit about that decision in 1985 to put develop the ANF logo and put that on the jerseys.
That's a difficult question to answer because I relate to the farmers because I was raised on a farm in West Texas, so far out in the country that I thought anyone with a two-holer was wealthy. I used so many things that I learned as a youngster growing up on the farm to lead me in the guidance of my football players through the years, and also use different wisdoms that I picked up being a farmer in the financial world, the political world, other world. And that's why I don't participate anymore in politics. All my good friends out here today that were raised on a farm know what I'm talking about. There was really a crisis across America back in the mid-'80s, and the farmers in Iowa were really suffering. Everything went down, the prices on livestock, eggs, whatever. And I knew I had to try to help them some way, and came up with the idea ANF, America Needs Farmers. I had no idea that putting a decal on the headgear of the Iowa players would have such an impact across the nation. But I had congressmen, other fine people in America call me and thank me for doing it. And as a result, we got nationwide publicity, which actually helped the market. The economy rose, not just because of that, but that was one reason, and particularly here in the state of Iowa. And Governor Branstad was here. I knew him as Lieutenant Governor, have watched his wonderful career, and I can't put into words how honored I am. My players and my coaches all made a great contribution, and Coach Ferentz has put the ANF decal back on the headgear today, and it's just wonderful. And I want to congratulate our new president. He has come to a tremendous environment, and I'm going to tell him why. My first game at Iowa, we hadn't had a winning season in 17 seasons. I'm standing on the sideline. Every time we made a first down, the crowd stood up and applauded. It just went bananas. And I'm thinking, I wonder what they'd do if we scored a touchdown. What you see is what you get in Iowa. What I call blue class people. Hard, honest, working people. I loved every moment of my coaching career here. Although I had cancer my last year, I never announced it. I've had 9 operations now. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is that the good Lord has some kind of purpose to keep me around. And this is one of them, getting this declaration from the governor of the state of Iowa. I love all of you people. I love my players, and looking forward to FRYfest and looking forward to another Iowa victory tomorrow. Thank you.
Certainly, we've talked about, Governor, what Coach Fry has meant from a statewide perspective, but Secretary of Ag Bill Northey is here as well to talk about what ANF has meant to the agricultural community, the significance of the ANF logo over the past 30 years. Bill, thanks for coming.
Well, thank you, Andy. It is great to be here, and as one of those young farmers back in the 1980s, and I'm sure there's others in this crowd as well, remember what a challenging time that was. We have a lot of former farmers from that decade that left agriculture at that time. And I'm not sure it's possible to describe how much putting the ANF on the helmets of your players meant to folks. As great a coach as Hayden Fry is, and you all know what a great coach he is, when you talk to his players and you talk to the Hawkeye community and you talk to farmers in the state of Iowa, they will tell you what a great person he is and how much he meant to folks. And certainly putting that logo on the helmets of your players meant more than they could ever communicate. And so this is a Pioneer in Agriculture Award awarded by the Big Show. And just a small remembrance of appreciation for what that meant to folks and what it still means to be able to have that logo on the helmets of Hawkeye players. And thank you so much, Hayden.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. Thank you. I have to share this with you too, in appreciation. If you call me on the telephone, you'll always hear the answer, mule barn.
Coach Fry, one of the stories I've heard you tell before is how you transitioned your view of agriculture and growing up onto a farm into your coaching philosophy with something called the bell cow theory. Could you explain that for us?
I would give my theory of bell cow the most important factor in my success. As a little fella going to school, I left the house around 6:30 in the morning. One particular morning, my dad said, "Son, before you go to school, I want you to go out and feed the cows." Well, we had about 2,000 acres leased. We couldn't afford to own a farm ourselves. I said, "Daddy, I can't. I got to go to school. I don't have time. I can't find all those cows out there." He said, "Son, it's real easy. You fill that old pickup up with hay, and you drive out there and you stop the car, the truck, and you listen. You hear a bell ringing, that's the bell cow. That bell cow is the leader, and for some reason, all the rest of the cows in the herd follow that bell cow. Sure enough, I drove out there, I stopped, I listened, and I heard the bell ringing. Make a long story short, all the herd was there. They began eating the hay as I drove away. As I grew up and got into coaching, I decided, you know what? Especially here at Iowa, after 17 consecutive losing seasons, there's got to be some bell cows on this team. So I had my coaches and myself evaluate players at each position and come up with a leader at each position. I would call that player into the office, and I didn't tell him he was a bell cow, but I told him, I said, son, what do we need to do in order to win? What should we stop doing? In other words, I got his opinion, his advice, because I knew as the bell cow, the players would listen to him more than they would me as the head coach. And sure enough, it worked. It worked throughout my career. And that's why, as being raised on the farm, I was so lucky. Not only that, my daddy, I could get a kick out of reading the papers today where the poor running back in Minnesota got in all the trouble for whipping his son, 4-year-old boy with a switch. When my daddy wanted to give me a few words of wisdom, we'd march through the barn. On the way, he'd reach over and get the horse whip. We'd go behind the barn so Mama couldn't look out the kitchen window to see what was going on. Bend over, son. I want you to remember this the rest of your life. Whop. After a couple of whops, I'm 9 or 10 years old, he said, I want you to remember this the rest of your life. I said, Daddy, what is it you want me to remember? He said, son, I don't know what you're going to become when you grow up, but if you're going to be a winner, if you're going to be successful, you have to surround yourself with winners. So as a result, I only recruited young men from a psychological standpoint that were winners in my mind. And the assistant coaches had to explain that to me, why. I looked at their athletic ability, but that wasn't really the important thing. The important thing was, what kind of person is this? Is he motivated to be a winner? Is he motivated to graduate? Is he motivated to be a success? And I learned this on the farm. My daddy said, you are what you are. And so in my life, I never hired an assistant coach unless I thought he was motivated to become a head coach. And as the governor and I were discussing earlier, I now lead the nation by far with 28 assistant coaches that have become head coaches. Unfortunately, 17 of them have already gone by. Just recently lost Bum Phillips, who was an outstanding coach for New Orleans Saints, the Houston Oilers, etc. He was my defensive coordinator at SMU. But all of those guys, and tonight, of all things, the coach who's with me the longest tenure, 23 years, Coach Bill Brazier, will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And the reason Coach Brazier didn't take a head job because he enjoyed being the defensive coordinator so well. He was with me at North Texas. We won the championship there. He was with me here. He's a real winner, and he certainly deserves all of the praise and compliments that he'll receive tonight being inducted into the Hall of Fame. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, that being an old farm boy, that I am so appreciative of everything that's happened, and the good Lord having me take the job here at Iowa, because I could associate with the people, and you fans are the main reason that we won. And you're the main reason that these boys that I recruited took pride in graduating. You know, so many teams have problems and kids drop out of school and so forth. They don't do that here in Iowa. They're hungry. They want an education. They want to become successful. And I'm so proud of Coach Ferentz and the staff here. They've done an excellent job. You have to remember this, ladies and gentlemen. I can say this now that I'm not coaching because the news media would go bananas with it. Out of necessity, we had to recruit across the nation to get enough players. There's only 4 or 5 kids in the state of Iowa each year that can play winning football in the Big Ten, as opposed to Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, all those places that have all the population. It's different. And so I hope that what I'm saying to you understand this is that we never lost a game on purpose. We got beat by some real good ball clubs. So I'm real hopeful that tomorrow, the first ball game, that Coach Ferentz and his staff get off to a real good start, because they're wonderful people and they represent the state of Iowa. Thank you.
Coach, as someone who grew up on a farm, and my father's sitting right down there, he taught me a lot on the farm. My grandfather taught me a lot on the farm. It certainly means a lot that you thought enough of farmers to put the ANF logo on the jerseys, that the lessons you learned while being involved in agriculture have guided you throughout your super successful career. So Bill, thank you for being here. Governor, thank you for being here. We have one more surprise for you with Coach Hayden Fry coming up at 12:15. Guys, thank you very much.
Congratulations. It meant so much to so many people that you did. People that you will never ever meet.
That's great. Thank you.